1, 2, 3, I don't know who else to be. 4, 5, 6, like they say I can't be fixed.
Hi, I'm Jenny.
And I'm Jill.
And welcome to Fluffy Mother Fluffer, where we're taking life seriously, one laugh at a time.
Welcome to episode 11. This episode, we're getting totally sheep-faced as we talk what it's woolly like to be.
Oh my goodness.
This is how this whole episode's going to go. Get ready.
Do you come up with these on your own?
Yes, I do. What it's woolly like to be the black sheep of the family. You guys catching on now? We're going to explore black sheep of history and give 5 reasons why being the black sheep isn't so bad after all.
That was impressive.
Wasn't it? Finally, we get to wrap things up with our listener-submitted segment called Dear Mom and Dad. You gotta hear it. These are great. Do you want to explain what it is?
A Dear Mom and Dad is something that your parents don't know that you did. So we're older now. There's nothing they can do to us.
Yes.
Really. I mean,
I don't know. I guess it depends on what you did.
right.
And if you saw our last live, we gave you a few of ours. I mean, our anonymous ones.
No, we
Wasn't
said
us.
they were. But there's some good ones.
I'm excited. Okay, so black sheep. Do you have a black sheep in your family?
Yeah.
Yeah. We won't out them.
No.
Oust them,
No.
I guess. But yeah,
Do you?
I think so.
And she's sitting here nodding her head very fastly, yes, and saying,
Yeah.
I think so.
I think so. Do you ever have the black sheep in your closer knit group who like just that one person that kind of goes to the beat of their own drum?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's always that distant relative
Oh, good.
who like shows up and you're like, what are you going to get? You don't know.
No, that distant relative that you keep adding on Facebook because they keep friend requesting you and then you delete them right after. And then they like a month goes by and they add you again and you're
Yep.
like, God damn it.
Yep. I don't know. What is your black sheep? So we're not going to tell you who our black sheep are, but what is like the thing that makes your black sheep a black sheep? Like a physical feature? Like they dress away?
You know,
or...
that's the thing. Like a black sheep could mean a lot of things.
Yeah.
And it's not all bad. It could be, like you said, just
I'm
somebody
sorry. Re-say that, please. It's not
bad.
all what?
You know, it could be just somebody, like you said, who beat the rhythm to their own drum.
Yeah. I had it.
Yeah,
I was thinking
is
it
that how you
like,
say
you know, everyone's going 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the black sheep's in the corner, like just like humping the air, like going all techno.
Or it's somebody who dresses different to stand out. Or otherwise, there's the rebels too, the ones that get in trouble.
Yep.
Yeah.
The not so lawfully.
Yeah. Not play by the rules. They're not a
Financially
play by the
helpful.
rules type of
Yeah.
individual.
Mm-hmm. But you have a list for us of black sheep in history.
Yeah, we're going to go over some famous black sheep in history. The heir of one of America's most prominent political dynasties, he was almost kicked out of Harvard for getting drunk and running naked through the campus with some of his buddies.
Stoop-a-loop, get your green hat.
Later, he descended into alcoholism, losing thousands of dollars in shady land speculation schemes, and was rejected by his father, who considered him morally deficient, quoting him saying, "A madman possessed of the devil." So who do you think this is?
Albert Einstein?
No.
No?
You think it's Kennedy, Rockefeller, a Gore, a Bush?
I'm going to go with Kennedy.
No.
No.
Way far back. Second president back, right?
Adams?
Yep.
Really?
Nope, and Adams. So President John Adams had quite a few sons. John Quincy Adams was the 6th president,
Mm-hmm.
but Charles Adams is the one we're talking about.
Okay.
So he was the black sheep of the family. He had outrageous behavior, and alcohol-fueled hijinks were a continual source of embarrassment to his parents and siblings. Long before Al Gore III was arrested for marijuana possession and the Bush daughters were busted for underage drinking.
Oh my God.
And a slew of Kennedys had made headlines for committing crimes, America's most important families were plagued by embarrassing relatives.
Oh, yeah.
The so-called black sheep goes against what's expected of them, right? Earns a reputation that the family could do without. And some black sheep brought shame on the legacy by committing horrible crimes, while others simply broke away from tradition and tried to forge their own paths.
We have a black sheep happening right now, don't we? With the whole royals, Prince Harry.
That's absolutely true.
Black sheep.
Mm-hmm. Either way, the prominence of their family only brought more attention to their actions. Right.
Yep. If this was modern day, it'd be on TMZ.
Yeah.
Running naked on Harvard campus.
Right.
Good old Charlie.
That would be funny.
Doing that crazy shit.
I think this one is my favorite one that I looked up. It's regarding Alice Roosevelt.
Oh, yes.
So President Theodore Roosevelt, quote unquote, had a rambunctious daughter named Alice, a Paris Hilton before her time. Alan Lichtman is a presidential historian who teaches at American University. He says she wasn't doing anything illegal, but she was pushing the envelope of what was acceptable in terms of drinking and partying. Alice Roosevelt was no different than thousands of other women out there, but she was the daughter of the president, so it was on the front page. Her father quipped to the press, "I can be president of the United States or I can control Alice. I cannot possibly do both."
She's that bad.
Yeah.
You guys are her. You pick.
That's funny.
You know what? That's pretty cool, though, because Eleanor Roosevelt
Yeah.
did quite a bit. She was an outspoken female.
Mm-hmm.
Good for them, having an outspoken
That's kind of what I thought.
daughter.
That was kind of my opinion on the matter, too.
Yeah, I like it. I'm with you, Alice.
So just so we're clear with this one, this is a case where being the black sheep is a good thing. Rainier was disowned by his family and was considered a traitor for being the only one to regard his grandfather, Rudolf Haas, as the monster that he was. Rudolf was a Nazi officer who served as a commandant of the Auschwitz concentration camp. He introduced Zyklon B to the gas chamber, thus turning his camp into the most efficient killing machine in the history of humanity. Each day, Rainier's grandfather would kill 20,000 people by dinner time, reasoning that he was only doing his job. Despite this, Haas was a hero in the family. His son, Rainier's father, Hans Jürgen, grew up in the villa next to Auschwitz. He would play in the garden while thousands of people were being killed, just a stone throws away. Later on, as a father, Hans would not allow anyone to disparage Haas. According to Rainier, there was a dictatorship where you had to admire grandfather like a hero. As a teenager, Rainier found out the truth about Rudolf Haas. It was not a subject that many discussed openly, and every member of his family kept up the image of the good commandant, except Rainier's mother, who was his only ally and frequently suffered for it at the hands of his father. When he was 16, Rainier ran away from home and never looked back, and now he spends his time speaking at schools against extremism.
Well, he is one of the many now. No longer
Right.
a black sheep.
Right, that's true.
That's got to be hard if you find yourself in a family that is doing something to that extreme level and you are like, I'm not with this. Even like certain families that have, I don't know how to say this. If you come from a family of privilege and you happen to look like there's a lot of, I don't want to say a lot of celebrity families, but you see sometimes that there's families of privilege who tend to treat people below them socioeconomically like dirt.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't imagine being in that family and then not wanting to act that way and then being ostracized because you want to treat people like people.
Yeah, but actually that's a very common black sheep as I was looking at famous people.
Yeah.
The stories themselves just weren't interesting enough. There wasn't a whole lot for me to say.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a very common thing. There seems to always be one person in the family who is like, you guys are fucked up. Like, you take your money. Like, I don't care.
Right.
Cut me off, whatever. I don't want any part of this.
Right.
Speaking of money, our next and last individual is James Vince Capone.
Ooh, Al Capone's kid?
No, close.
Oh.
How could anybody embarrass a major crime family?
Becoming a cop?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah?
Prohibition-era mafia godfather Al Capone was one of the most notorious gangsters of all time, taking advantage of Prohibition to increase his wealth and power in Chicago. However, his brother, who we're going to call Vince, because that was his nickname, ran away from home to join the circus. Then he fought heroically in World War I and eventually became a policeman in Nebraska. Vince spent Prohibition shutting down the very illegal alcohol productions that were making his brother rich and powerful. Vince became famous in the Midwest for his dedication to law enforcement. From his jail cell in Alcatraz, Al Capone was said to have been mortified.
This needs to be a movie.
Yeah, that would make a good movie.
Vince against his brother, Vince and Al.
Al.
Prohibition. Fight
Two
Club.
brother. Yeah.
to the trailer. Two brothers.
Yeah.
One prohibition. Who's gonna win? Al Capone has a lot of ties to our area.
Oh my
being in
gosh.
the Midwest.
So much.
Even
There was
like close ties to Maribel Hotel. Wasn't he thought to have underground, like hidden?
He has so many places. I'm from the other side of the state, up north, and he has a bunch of places up there. The Point. It's on a big lake, and he had built a house. I don't know. It was like a bar grill now, but right at the point of this, it was up on a hill. You could see all the way around you, basically on the water, so you could see if people were coming. And
That's
then there's in Hayward, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
He's got Al Capone's hideout is up there. That's literally what it's called. Yeah, it's all over around there.
What I'm thinking of isn't that far from here. Well, now they call it Hotel Hell because it's thought to be haunted. Remember it? It burned down. It's in Maribel.
Is Hotel Hell okay? So that burnt down, but isn't there something where it's like real crazy like that, and you can go and stay the night?
There are the Maribel Caves County Park is behind it, and you can kind of walk up behind it. But there's thought to be a portal to hell
Oh my gosh!
on site there. I actually had a really weird experience there. I drove out there with a boyfriend that I was dating at the time, and we had borrowed his dad's like convertible car, like an old 50s car. So we're like, let's drive out. And it was a full moon night, and we get right in front of this hotel, and my phone rings, and I answer, and it's this girl, and she goes, "Hi, Jill." And it was like unavailable number. It was really weird. And I'm like, who is this? "Hi, Jill. Who is this? Goodbye." And I'm like, it's
Oh my gosh! Seriously?
Yeah.
You never found out who
No,
it was?
never. I never found out who it was, and I did not recognize the voice at all.
That's creepy.
Super creepy. Never called back. Never, no.
Weird.
Anyway, so it doesn't really stand now. It was actually hit by a tornado in 2013.
Oh,
But there are still remnants there of it. And yeah, I don't know. Al Capone supposedly has ties to that, but now I guess the devil does.
I mean, they're one and the same.
What's the difference? Maybe it's him again, coming from hell. Yep. Next time we're coming live from Hotel Hell. See you there. You want to hear 5 reasons why being a black sheep isn't all that bad?
As long as you stop doing that.
What? Okay, I think I only have one more sheep pun,
Okay.
and I'll tell you when it's coming. It's so good. It's so stupid. It's good. So remember back in episode 4, we had a special segment that we called the Music and Mantra Corner.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And there was the one mantra that was, if you're feeling overwhelmed, just lower others' expectations of you.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to ask you for fashion or legal advice if you walk around with your underwear on the outside of your pants.
Yeah.
So that mantra was meant to be funny and to catch people off guard because that's what makes it funny.
Mm-hmm.
But it's actually, I think, a really fitting way to describe what it's like to be the black sheep in a good way, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you 5 reasons why I personally think being the black sheep isn't all that bad after all.
Are you the black sheep?
You know, I don't know that I'm the black sheep because I still am very much a part of everything in my family. Like I do think I kind of beat to my own drum though, but it's like,
Yeah, you do.
it's more of like, it's more of like an acceptable rhythm. I'm not like, what's the Miley Cyrus move called? Why can't I think of it? Where she humps the air. Why can't I think of what that's called?
The wrecking ball?
No,
No, not that one. There's so many of
I
them where
can't
she
think of
humps
it.
things.
It's the big thing that people do. It's not pelvic thrusting. It's
twerking?
twerking. Jeez Louise. So I'm not like twerking in the corner, but like I'm probably spinning circles, like
Licking
a
the
hula
bubbles
hoop.
in the air.
Yeah. These are 5 reasons why I think it wouldn't be so bad to be the black sheep anyway. So the first one is that black sheeps give no fucks.
Yeah.
They give no fucks.
I love that.
They don't follow the herd, and they create their own path. They're like that one in the herd that the sheepdog's like, hey, my job is to keep you here, and I keep bringing you back, and you keep going back down to that stream all by yourself. Like, get your shit together.
That coyote's going to get you.
You're going to ruin my job. Yeah, they kind of put themselves out there, and yeah, that might put you in more in a dangerous situation, but they don't care. They're here to experience life the way that they want to.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that sheepdog would be a good analogy for the parent. When it comes to black sheep, the parent, sometimes we see our jobs as to keep our kids in line. And it's really hard, I think, when school has expectations of them. Childcare has expectations of them, how they're supposed to be.
Right. Everybody wants to put them in a box.
Exactly.
And at the same time, though, want to foster their individuality.
Absolutely.
Addie's pediatrician once said, you have to find a way to handle her without breaking her spirit, because that spirit is what's going to get them through life.
Right. Right. And going back to your segment, being the black sheep has done some amazing things for this country. There have been some powerful things that have come out of being a historical or just even a current black sheep. Like, black sheep don't fit the mold, and that's a great thing. That's why we have a lot of the things we do. Because people did not stay in the box. There's a really great group. I follow them on Facebook, but I think they have a podcast and stuff too. The Holderness family, they did something where he talks about how he has ADHD, and it's a great thing. And I agree. I think lots of times we look at autism, Asperger's, ADHD as a disorder, and they're not. It is difficult. It's not going to make things easy when we see things as easy being fitting into societal norms.
Well, and that's because those societal norms are something that everybody else can deal with easier.
Right.
But that doesn't
make it the only right way.
Right. And it makes other people get out of their box as well to deal with them. So, and that's uncomfortable for a lot of people.
Right. And I think that's a really good point is black sheeps give no fucks, and that makes some people really uncomfortable, but that doesn't matter to the black sheep. And I'll come back to that.
I feel like in that sense, I fit that category.
I think you are.
I like to be a little bit unpredictable.
But I think that's one of the first great point about black sheep is they give no fucks. They don't care that you care. They don't care. Number 2 would be a black sheep has no fucks expected of them. So just like no one's going to ask someone with their underwear on the outside of their pants if their outfit looks nice, that's kind of the great thing about being a black sheep. They're also not going to be relied on to host parties, do important events. They're not the ones you're going to expect fucks from.
My mom recently told me that she was disappointed in me because I went from the norm to do something and followed my own beliefs and made my own decision about something. And she wasn't very happy about it. Now, if I had started off being the black sheep,
right, it'd have been okay.
It would have been okay.
That's just the way you are.
There was no expectations that I would just follow in her footsteps.
Yeah. That's a really good point. How do you go from not being the black sheep to being the black sheep and everybody just be copacetic with it? Be like, that's cool.
You give no fucks. That's what you do.
You give no fucks. You don't care.
Yeah.
Honestly, though, when it comes to the no fucks expected of you, think about like how much work we put into holidays and birthday parties and like the black sheep.
I am so guilty of that.
Yeah, I am too. Oh, I totally am too. I am proactive and overthink a lot of things, but it's like, that'd be nice to be the black sheep and just show up at mom and dad's party. And if you don't show up, no one expects you to show up anyway.
Yeah.
So if you do, it's like,
yeah,
cool, I'm glad you're here. And now, crap, I'm kind of worried what you're going to do now that you're here, but at least you're here. Like, that's all that's expected of you is to show up.
Yeah.
Set the bar low.
I don't know, though. I mean, those types of things I enjoy or I wouldn't do them. I will say that it worries me a little bit that I do it so often that it does become expected. Or people are like, oh, Jetty throws, really creative and great parties. I wonder what she's going to do this year.
Yeah.
And this year I'm like, I'm fucking over it. I'm exhausted. I'm not going to do anything and then disappoint people.
Right.
Yeah.
I just think that's a cool viewpoint.
Yeah.
To be able to come from is, if I show up, I show up. If I don't, I don't. Kind of like it. Number 3, a black sheep is amazing at being a boundary setter. So we talked about the importance of boundaries and setting healthy boundaries so many times on this podcast already. We talked about them when we were talking about getting engaged. We talked about them when we talked about friendships and toxic friendships. So to me, if boundaries are what keep people from overstepping their roles in our lives, or boundaries are what we tell people, this is where I'll draw the line, the black sheep draws up boundaries just by being themselves. They set the boundaries of this is what you can expect from me and this is who I am.
Right.
You get what you get.
Yeah. And if people know, like if I piss them off or I do something they don't like, they're just going to fucking walk away because they don't give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to bother them. They're just going to be like, whatever, bye. You know?
Yeah. I just think sometimes being the odd one out, that's actually a terrific boundary right there. They call you the black sheep because you do set boundaries. In a way, a black sheep sets a mold of who they are, and who they are is unpredictable Uncle Pete, or whatever the case is. And number 4 is one I think we can both relate to, and kind of coming back to the idea of whose problem it really is to be the black sheep.
Right.
Black sheep points out others' shadows. As I'm saying a lot of this stuff, I bet you're thinking this is all well and good, but black sheep make things so difficult. Like the Roosevelts maybe felt that way. Like, you're really making things hard for me
right.
by acting the way you do. And I get that. But I think you need to ask yourself this. If you're thinking about the black sheep in your family, are they really the one doing the harm, or is it the way that you're looking at it? Jenny and I recently did shadow work. Mm-hmm. And if you don't know what shadow work is, we'll talk about it probably when we get to spirituality a little bit more in depth. But it's basically looking inward at the things that we don't like about ourselves to understand why we struggle with other people. Or we often project out to the world, but really it's something we don't like about ourselves.
Right.
If your issue with the black sheep is that they're very outspoken, it might be that you have an issue with the fact that you're so in line and you're so used to just following the crowd and not being able to say your piece. So your problem with them is that they have that ability and you don't.
Right.
So sometimes it would be helpful to look at the black sheep and go, this person is very aware of who they are. Maybe I need to be a little bit more like that and figure out why I have a problem with somebody who's very aware of who they are.
Right. Exactly. And it's a hard thing to do. That is a very hard thing to do.
Right.
It's a very hard thing to admit that that's what it is too. And it's not, because you're basically saying this is a me problem, not a them problem.
Right. Absolutely. And yeah, I'm not saying like if your black sheep has a meth lab in your kitchen, like that's a legal thing. Like that's a whole nother level of black sheep. But like if they're wearing a cape to a funeral,
yeah,
why does this bother you?
Yeah. Right.
Maybe
right.
they see funerals as magical and they believe in past lives or that we all have multiple lives. You don't know. You should just ask.
Right.
Capes are great. Superman had a cape.
Except when your husband uses his towel as a cape as he comes out of the shower and runs around.
And the final point about black sheep is a black sheep, ironically, is the least fluffy of us all.
Yeah.
Our big push on this podcast is that we step out of our set roles and beliefs and really explore what's under a lot of those layers that we put on top to present to the world. Mm-hmm. Black sheep themselves are far ahead of us in this respect because they don't have a fluffy layer at all. They just simply are who they are, and they don't carry around a fluffy exterior to show the world.
Not true. They're sheep. They're fluffy.
That's the ironic part. They're the least fluffy sheep you'll ever meet.
Oh, I get it.
So I think that alone is something to admire. When you meet them, that's them.
Right.
They're not putting on a show for you.
They're authentic.
Yeah. You're not going to find out later that they have another husband or something like that. I'm just making stuff up. This isn't something. This is not the black sheep of my family.
Why are you looking at me like that?
I'm just trying to guess who your black sheep is.
Oh.
Wink once if it's you.
Now it probably is.
Yeah. I think the more I get comfortable with exploring who I really am, I think for a lot of people, maybe you listeners agree, the more you step out of what's expected of you and you really truly become who you are and you pull away some of this fluffy stuff that we talk about, the more you do kind of become a black sheep.
Yeah, because you're breaking the mold.
Yeah, you're getting out of that. This is who I am. This is what I'm going to be. Absolutely. So now obviously there's a lot of damage that can be done being a black sheep of the family. It can cause emotional and mental issues, being ostracized or having that loneliness. So I don't want to downplay it and just say these are the great things about being it, because reality is if you do feel like you're the black sheep and you're detached from your family and this is a problem for you, you really should seek out help discussing your feelings about it.
Sure. And being the black sheep isn't bad. The thing that's bad about it is how others might treat you.
Yes. Thank you. Yes.
Because,
because of who you are.
Because of who you are.
Absolutely.
That's where the problem lies.
Right. And a lot of that feeling ostracized, feeling alone can lead to depression. It can lead to anxiety. And then a lot of that can lead to addictive behaviors, finding different ways to feel full.
Right.
So obviously, if you feel this way, fully reach out, you know, and talk to someone about it, because it is a hard place to be. But if it helps at all, a black sheep is a term that we didn't really have to explain to you what a black sheep was before we did this episode because it's out there. Everybody knows what a black sheep is for the most part. It's a very popular term. So when you feel outcast or left out, consider that there's a whole group of stray sheep out there having a party down by the river while the herd's fighting for grass on the hill.
Right.
And they're having a great old time by themselves.
Right.
So there's a whole group that's out there just like you, feeling like they have nobody else that has so much to offer the world and they just have to feed their soul a different way.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than looking at yourself as the odd one out, just think of it as that you have a new herd out there just waiting to meet. Here's my sheep pun. You. EWE. Yeah. I think sheep puns are better than fish puns. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I like it.
To put them up against each other and find out. Or not.
All right, so our special segment is going to be our Dear Mom and Dad letters that our listeners submitted to us.
Yeah.
And Jill and I were just talking, and we're going to leave these all anonymous.
We'll leave them all anonymous. Nobody worry. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Just in case, because I don't know that I clarified with some people whether or not they wanted to remain anonymous.
Yeah.
So it's probably just better to play
Yeah.
it safe. And
I have a couple that are definitely anonymous.
okay.
And that does not mean me.
So our thoughts with this segment was, since we were talking about black sheep, we talk about the things that we did that we hid so that we wouldn't be ostracized from our family and become the black sheep. Kind of, sort of.
Yeah, that's
It's
kind
like,
of true.
I gotta hide this shit. Dear Mom, on a few occasions when you traveled for work, I would throw a few parties at the apartment. To keep you from finding out, I would invite a few of the neighbors, especially the dads, so they wouldn't tell you, and then babysit for them in return. Lots of them involved alcohol, but nothing more. Sorry.
Wait. So she would have parties and invite the neighbors.
The neighbors' dads so that they wouldn't tell.
What about the moms?
I don't know. I guess. I don't know. I'd probably invite the dads. There's a movie. And this is a movie. I think it's called The Sitter. And it's like a thing. But the dads pay them for other things. So it's like not the same as the movie. But yeah, it started out like that.
So wait. I'm going to throw a high school party and I'm going to invite these dads over to party with us.
Yeah.
So they don't tell, and then I'll also babysit for you.
Yeah.
So meanwhile, there's these creepy ass dads that are looking at these like high school girls.
Maybe they weren't creepy.
I guarantee you they were.
I've seen the movie. That's just where my brain goes.
Dear Mom and Dad, that time I cleaned the house and changed the sheets in your bedroom, it wasn't because I was doing extra chores to be nice. It was because I had sex with someone in your bed. Sorry about that. Love, Anonymous.
Oh my God. I mean, I just don't know that that's where I'd want to do it. Depends on what kind of, if I was sleeping on a futon or like my room was like, I didn't live in that house anymore. And
what if they
all
had
I
a
was
really,
sleeping bag?
what if they had a really comfortable bed?
What if they had mirrors on the ceiling?
Yeah.
Mom and Dad were kinky.
Right.
And you're like, I want some of that.
Yeah.
Come see this. You gotta see this.
Or maybe you just really like despised your parents and that was your way of getting back at them.
Or they had a waterbed. Remember waterbeds?
Yeah. My parents had a waterbed for a while.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
My sister had a waterbed and I'm like, it's just so weird. How is this comfortable?
Cold. They're cold when you first get into bed too.
Whatever happened to waterbeds?
They're gross.
They'll make their way back just like middle parts. They're coming back.
No, my question is how do you clean that? You just leave this stagnant water?
Yeah, and how did you ever put a fitted sheet on it?
I don't know. The whole thing is weird. And how do you have sex on a waterbed? This brings so many questions. How do you have sex on a waterbed, though? Seriously.
I don't know.
It's like,
I'm just trying to think of sleeping on it just to start. But yeah, you're right. Because like everything's moving.
Everything's moving. You're trying to get it in the hole. And it's like these waves coming
And that's
through.
a problem already. I mean, that's hard enough to be like, okay, no, it's not there. That's the wrong one. Like the other one.
Wrong hole.
You gotta-
Wrong hole.
Well, now I think I need to find a creepy hotel with a waterbed just because I'm
Ooh.
curious. Yeah, yeah.
You know how many people had sex on
I'll
that
get
website?
vaccinated before then. Get my tetanus shot up to date. Dear Mom and Dad, I'm sorry, Mom, that you had to lie to Grandma, telling her that both your boys were home safe that icy night back in '95, when in fact, both my brother and I had stayed over at our girlfriends' houses, because teenage boys only think with the smaller head in their pants.
Oh, man.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, as long as you knew your kids were safe, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Grandma doesn't need to know where you are anyways.
Yeah, Grandma. Knit your sweaters.
Mind your own business.
Yeah. MYOB. Except for the sweaters. Keep those coming. I knew this guy in college, and we actually called him man whore because he was a man whore. And one time, I was at church with his family.
Okay, wait.
I was dating his brother, but I'm
Okay.
trying not to out him.
Okay.
But anyway, who cares? And he shows up at church because he was told he needed to be there. And he sits down next to me. He's
He
like,
smells like sex.
he goes to me as church is starting. He goes, "Do I smell bad?" "No, why?" "I don't smell like sex." And I'm like, Jesus, Mary and Joseph, hallelujah. I'm just like,
Oh, that's so gross. I was
so
watching
wrong.
something. It was something on TikTok where this guy goes, "Why is it that women have to get up after sex and go into the bathroom? Like, what are they doing in there?" And so many women were like, "The fact that you don't know what they're doing in there, there's a whole new problem there with your
this
little
dude,
boyness."
Does this dude have
Like, yeah,
no kids, or where does he think it goes?
well, yeah, but
Magic Land?
no. So,
How are we getting so far off
I don't
topic with
know.
all of these?
I'm sorry, guys.
Captain Hot Pants said something today. I had a doctor appointment, and it's a long story, but anyway, one of the things I needed to track was my sexual activity. And I said on good days when I'm feeling well, then that seems to be when we have sex, but then the next day I don't feel good. So I don't know if it's just because I'm having a good day, usually followed by a bad day, or if it's, what if the sex is causing me to feel bad?
What if you're allergic to a sperm?
I'm allergic to sex. What if?
Dude, I want whatever
Did I just win the lottery?
yeah. Whatever doctor diagnosed you with that, sign me up.
But he goes to her, "No, it's just because on the days you feel good, your inhibitions are lowered." So I get lucky.
Oh.
I'm like, moving on.
Yeah, if you don't feel good, you don't screw that.
You don't screw that. Exactly.
Don't screw that. Dear Dad, I'm sorry that during junior prom, you thought you were talking to Jocelyn's mom, finding out that the get-together at her house would have parental supervision when in fact, it was a strange girl I'd met that night pretending to be a mother. So I could go get drunk for the first time on blackberry brandy in a field with a bonfire where there were 0 adults. And then I passed out in the back of someone's junky 80s SUV with 2 other people.
Did I write that?
I know. You know,
Did you
people,
write that?
people are going to think it was me because a lot of people, everybody knows from our last podcast that I
Yeah.
used to get drunk on blackberry brandy.
It wasn't you, though.
This was not me.
No.
Apparently, blackberry brandy was a common thing for youngins.
I guess if you have to drink brandy, it might as well be blackberry.
Right.
Dear Mom, remember the time during freshman year in college I nonchalantly asked where my birth certificate was? I asked because I intended to marry a guy to help him stay in the country. I found my birth certificate and went back to college. I was in the car on my way to the courthouse when I told the guy I changed my mind. He never talked to me again. Worked out well for me. Met the love of my life 2 years later. Still happily married.
Holy shit. Holy shit.
Yeah.
I mean,
How do you
if-
explain that one? You
No.
just come home one day with your husband?
dude, if your kid came home and wanted to do that, you'd have issues, right?
Yeah.
Hell
I
yeah.
already have issues, but I would have issues with that.
Oh, man.
I mean, because when you get married, that's like everything. You get financials. I mean, it's more than just. Although,
Dang.
I could have been persuaded to marry someone to keep them in this country
Yeah.
I could have. But then I would have divorced, and I wouldn't have let them live in my house, and I wouldn't have shared finances, and I wouldn't.
Haven't you
Unless I wanted
did
to.
you watch the TV shows and the movies? They track you.
Yeah.
They make sure that it's for real.
Do they?
That's what they show in movies. Like
Like The Proposal with Sandra Bullock and Ryan Reynolds?
yeah, where you have to like prove that you're actually like in love with this person.
Great, but that's stupid because married people don't love each other.
whoa.
Within 6 months, it's like, what should prove you're married is the fact that you're fighting over the fact that someone can't close a cupboard or they put their socks in the washing machine inside out.
I thought you just got new floors and you told him to take his goddamn shoes off at the
You
door.
won't fucking take your shoes off. Those are the things that show your true love and that you're married. Not whether or not you're banging and kissing. Well,
The end.
thanks for submitting your stories, listeners. If you have ideas for other listener-submitted segments you want us to do, hit us up. Let us know. We're more than happy to tell your dirty deeds.
Yeah, we
That's what we're here for. What's your fluffy takeaway for the day, Jenny?
My fluffy takeaway is that being a black sheep is not always a bad thing. Actually, it sounds pretty amazing.
Agreed.
Yeah, what's yours?
That Alice Roosevelt was a badass,
She was.
and I have mad props for Teddy. Teddy and Eleanor.
His response is hilarious. Like, can we either deal with her or I can be your president.
Yeah. Mad props. They raised a good girl. I like her.
Remember, you can like, follow, share, and review us on Facebook and find us on Instagram and YouTube. Find our podcast and blog on our website, fluffymotherfluffer.com. And feel free to email us at any time at fluffymotherfluffer@gmail.com with topic ideas or to discuss anything we've covered. We'd love to hear from you. You can also review us on Apple Podcasts to let us know how we're doing.
Goodbye. I couldn't help myself.
Bye.
Oh, bye. See you later, Jenny. Let's go down by the river. Do some twerking.
I don't know if it's just because I have kids and it's just so chaotic with little kids, but living in a van down by the river sounds pretty nice.
Let's do it. Black sheep. We'll get a black van. Draw some sheep on it.
I'm going to play the guitar.
Oh, wait, no.
That's a banjo.
That got weird. Thank you for joining us on Fluffy Mother Fluffer. Hopefully this episode lifted a little bit of fluff off that pile called life. And if not, well, join us again next time, you fluffy mother fluffer, you.
The last couple of days, I have been walking around the yard doing like the spring stick pickup.
Spring stick pickup?
Yeah. Like
Okay.
there's little twigs because we have like
Oh.
40 trees.
Yeah,
in
we
our
don't have
yard.
trees yet, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We have
But
like
I
40
understand.
trees in our yard. So there's little sticks all over the yard. Anyways, I'm doing this and my 18-month-old comes up to me. She goes, here. And she's got a piece of dried dog poop in her hand. I'm like, oh my God, thank you. Like brushing her hand off.
She finds the one piece of poop.
I know. We probably only have enough poop from one dog because one dog eats the other dog's poop.
My dog eats his own poop, I guess. What am I talking about? He used to. He doesn't anymore.
I had one of my girlfriends watch my dogs for me while I left town for a night. And I said, just to forewarn you, Chloe likes to eat poop. And she said, well, I'm just going to put some hot sauce on the dog poop. That'll like deter her.
Uh-huh.
And she sends me a message a little bit later. She's like, well, apparently your dog is Mexican. He ate that shit like it was nothing.
She's probably like, damn, some hot sauce. I've been waiting for this.
Spicy. It's like in the military, they put hot sauce on everything.
You had to make it not taste like shit.
Yeah.
No,
But this literally was shit.
It's the opposite.
Just a spicy shit.
Spice this up.